Hey guys, what's up? My name is Anthony and welcome to another edition of Being a Sports Talk. Before we get into today's video, what I want to talk about, I'm going to give you my divisional round picks. So for Baltimore and Tennessee, I have Baltimore winning 24-17. I think that you should bet Tennessee in the first half because Baltimore is going to be a little bit rusty. I take the under in this game. I wouldn't really touch the overall, I think 9.5 that Tennessee is getting. For Seattle, Green Bay, I don't want to touch against the spread either. I'd lean towards Green Bay if I had to bet it, but I'd also bet the under because of the conditions in this game. It's going to be very cold. It's going to be a ground and pound tough game. So I take the under. I think Green Bay wins around 21-17. Seattle finds it tough to score, and Green Bay has that physical defense, and that returns in this game, and they have the advantage since they're at home. For San Francisco, Minnesota, I think this is going to be a relatively medium scoring game. It's not going to be shootout, but Kirk Cousins is going to struggle in this game because it is a 4:30 game. It's not a 1:30 game. He struggles games that start at 1 o'clock. Not that don't start at 1 o'clock. The games that start at 1 o'clock, he's the best quarterback in NFL history as far as covering the spread. And not at 4 o'clock, he's 30% against the spread. So I'd lean towards San Francisco. I think that San Francisco wins around 27-17. And then for the last game that I want to mention, Houston Texans versus Kansas City. Definitely bet Kansas City in the first half. 51 points total. I think that the Texans may score some garbage late points, but I also think that the Chiefs aren't going to let them score late. I think that they're going to be just sound technically because they have a challenge that they want to conquer in the Baltimore Ravens. So they realize, we have to play. They're fresh. And all they have to do is play 3 games if they do advance. So I think that the Kansas City Chiefs roll. They win by a score of 31-17. Those are my divisional picks. But let's get into the topic of today's video. We're going deep into the draft after the season. We're going to evaluate all this talent. But from right now, in the mind of Joe Judge, what do I think he's going to do? So, based on his press conference, he likes guys that are versatile. He defines guys as, this guy is big. He can push people around. He's a left tackle. He's, this guy is fast. He's quick. He can also push people. Oh, this guy's a defensive end. That sort of thing. So he's going to look at each guy blindly on the team. And I think he's really not going to like Nate Solder. He really isn't. And Andrew Thomas is going to be available then. Chase Young is going to be off the board. That's why Ron Rivera took the job. He saw, Chase Young's here. I'm going to get a quick start to my career. And we're going to have Dwayne Haskins, who I like. Well, he likes, in the perspective of him. So Chase Young's going to be gone. Now, what the Lions can do is they could trade back with a team like the Dolphins, a team like the Panthers, a team like the Chargers, and they'll select a quarterback, meaning we'll have the third best player available in the draft. There's Okudah, the cornerback out of Ohio State that a lot of people are touting. I'm not too sure about him. We tried that with Eli Apple. We tried that with DeAndre Baker. I don't trust our front office in evaluating cornerbacks. I really don't. Let's just get a cornerback in free agency. Janoris Jenkins kind of worked. I think that in free agency we should get a cornerback. I don't think cornerback is going to be a good spot. But we're in the minds of Joe Judge. Andrew Thomas, look at him. He's a physical freak playing in the SEC against all those defensive ends. Didn't allow a sack or a pressure all year long. I went to the game against Florida, Georgia. The number, I think, 6 and number 8 teams in the nation at that point. We have one of the best pass rushing teams in the entire nation. Didn't get a single lick on Jake Fromm the entire game. Besides in, the beginning. But I think that was from the right side. Anyway, so I think that he's going to love Andrew Thomas. I really do. But there's also a guy, Isaiah Simmons, linebacker out of Clemson, who actually started off as a safety. And he's going to love that. He's going to look, okay, he's versatile. We can play him here. He's an athlete. And I think that Joe Judge is going to completely love that. Kind of like Jabril Peppers. He's a special teams guy. He can play safety. I think he can also play nickel corner as well. So Jabril Peppers is versatile. He's going to love that and that flexibility. It depends who he brings in at defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator, who they like. I think that's going to be a communication there. But Joe Judge has 5 years for his contract. I'm not sure how many per year, but that's not the point. I guess the point is he's going to have to get started fairly quickly. He doesn't have to get started right away. He can evaluate talent. He can struggle the first year. All we have to prove in the first year is that we're fundamentally sound. I think he may test out Nate Solder for 1 year and just try to build up this defense. Because when our team is good, our defense is good. He saw that with the Patriots. When the defense was good, the team was good. The 1 year they had a bad defense, they lost to the Eagles in the Super Bowl. They still made it to the Super Bowl, but he saw the good defense, good team. You saw their offense this year, 15th in the league. They didn't do anything. They didn't smell success this year. Actually, they played pretty well. But after a while, that defense started to struggle a little bit. And I think he sees what a good defense means to a team. And he's going to be able to bring on a bunch of coordinators that Nick Saban and Bill Belichick approve. And Bill Belichick doesn't have the best coaching tree, but he's mentored Joe Judge. We talked about that. He's groomed Joe Judge like Andy Reid grooms his coaches. Him and Nick Saban know the guys that are good. He knows the smart guys. He's gonna be able to point out, Joe, you should look over there at Wade Phillips. You run a 3-4. I think he's pretty smart. When we played him in the playoffs last year, and we played him in the Super Bowl, he really stopped our offense. We're only allowed 13 points the entire game. So, pick him. Or, offensive coordinator, maybe look at Joe Brady. We'll discuss more who can potentially pick an offensive coordinator in a later video. But let's go back to the draft because we got a little sidetracked. I think he's really going to like Isaiah Simmons and really going to like Andrew Thomas. And Isaiah Simmons is going to have an amazing combine. We're not going to be able to do a switcheroo. We're not going to be able to trade back and grab him, I don't think, unless it's with Miami. The best scenario in my situation, if you said, Anthony, what's the best scenario? Trade one spot back with Miami. They get Tua, and we still get Andrew Thomas, whoever we're going to pick, and we also get their second first rounder or third first rounder, and we can give them back a second rounder or something like that, but getting two guys that early is going to be, pivotal. Dave Gettleman has proven he's a good evaluator of talent. Joe Judge, I think they're going to work together. They may have some struggles in the beginning, but they're going to learn how to work together, what they like, what they don't like, and yeah, I think Joe Judge is a fair evaluator of talent. We could potentially trade back with Las Vegas because they have a 14th and a 19th, but I think that's too far back. You're at the 4th pick. It's not like we're 10 and it's not that much of a loss. I think if you're 4, you can't trade back like that. That you're losing too much talent. The talent falls off. You have the top 3 guys and then there's everyone else. As far as I know right now, left tackles, there's Andrew Thomas, and then there's a bunch of guys. So you could potentially trade back, get a left tackle in the second. We already gave up our third rounder, but trade back, get a left tackle in the second round who's going to be decent. And the pros and cons with that are left tackle, it's a pivotal position on the team. But we still have Nate Solder. And Joe Judge has no connection with Nate Solder. He can cut him. He can cut Alec Ogletree. He can cut all these guys. He can cut Nate Solder tomorrow. And the Giants will be like, okay, he evaluated him. He is tied to Dave Gettleman a little bit, but Dave Gettleman will probably be like, yeah, you know what, you're probably right. The Nate Solder isn't that good. And they'll be fine with it. Or you can get depth on this defense, on this offensive line. Get another left tackle. We have some talent with Nick Gates. I think we need a better center. Maybe try to address that later in the round. But if Joe Judge falls in love with Andrew Thomas, I think he's going to pick him over Isaiah Simmons because he knows fundamentally sound how you need to be fundamentally sound on the offense, but he also may be tempted to pick Isaiah Simmons because he knows how important a defense is. It all depends on who he thinks is the best. Those are the 2 options I can see. Obviously, it's going to be fun to see what we choose. People are saying, you know what, Joe Judge isn't a good wide receivers coach. Look at the guys that he had. But this is my last point of the video. I think that it's Tom Brady's fault, a lot of it, because you had to get the ball out so quickly, and all these new receivers like N'Keal Harry struggled. They really did struggle because where they're used to going up and grabbing a 50-50 ball and doing different route concepts. With Tom Brady, you had to scheme, you had to do some flash in the pan twist, and you had to memorize all these certain plays. With a normal offense, you're like, okay, run straight, do a slant, and that's it. When you're working with Tom Brady, it's just like, oh, the offensive line's bad. He's immobile. He can't extend plays. So I think that was an issue. The special teams thing was great. He was learning behind Bill Belichick. He was grooming behind Bill Belichick, learning the ins and outs. We're not going to have any challenge problems. We're not going to have any timeouts problems. And that's why I'm confident. Joe Judge, again, 5-year contract. As long as we're fundamentally sound and we're not losing the games, we're we can't lose these games. I don't care if we don't win them. We just can't lose them, if that makes any sense. We can't lose them on awful challenge calls, timeouts, penalties. With the Patriots, what's good is that on 4th and 1, when their defense is on the field, they didn't get a penalty and extend the offensive drive for the other team. They didn't get punts and kicks blocked. They actually blocked a bunch of punts and kicks that kept them in games that they shouldn't have been, and that's why their record was so good this year. Realistically, they were a 9-7 team, 10-6 team based on their talent, and they were able to win some games based on the little ins and outs. And that's what the Giants are going to be good at. And if he starts developing that culture, that's all I'm for. But let me know what you guys think. Inside the mind of Joe Judge, who do we pick? Andrew Thomas, Isaiah Simmons, somebody else? And we'll discuss more later as talent. As we know more of the talent, who gets into the draft, who says I'm returning to football like a scrub. I don't know. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.